lovely listeners, and welcome back to Willow's Wonderful Tales. Today I'll be continuing the story of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Chapter 5 Advice from a Caterpillar. The caterpillar and Alice looked at each other for some time in silence. At last the caterpillar took the pipe out of its mouth and spoke to her in a sleepy voice. "Who are you?" he asked. Alice replied, "I don't know, sir. At least, I knew who I was when I got up this morning, but I have changed so many sizes since then." "What do you mean by that?" said the caterpillar sternly. "Explain yourself." "I can't explain myself," said Alice, "because I'm not myself, you see." "I don't see," said the caterpillar. "I can't put it more clearly," Alice replied politely. "I can't understand it myself, to begin with. I have been so many sizes today, it is very confusing." "It isn't," said the caterpillar. "Well, maybe not to you," said Alice, "but when you have to turn into a chrysalis and then after that into a butterfly, I think you'll feel a little strange, won't you?" "Not a bit," said the caterpillar. "Well, maybe your feelings will change," said Alice. "It has been very strange to me." "You!" said the caterpillar. "Who are you?" She replied, "I think you ought to tell me who you are first." "Why?" said the caterpillar. He had a good point, and didn't seem to be in a good mood, so she decided to leave and began walking away. "Come back!" the caterpillar called after her. "I've something important to say." Alice turned and came back again. "Keep your temper," said the caterpillar. "Is that all?" said Alice, holding in her anger as well as she could. "No," said the caterpillar. Alice thought she might as well wait. The caterpillar might tell her something worth hearing. For some minutes it puffed away without speaking, but at last it unfolded its arms, took the pipe out of its mouth again, and said, "So you think you're changed, do you?" "I'm afraid I am, sir," said Alice. "I don't stay the same size for longer than 10 minutes." "What size do you want to be?" it asked. "Oh, I really don't care what size I am," Alice replied. "I just don't like changing sizes so much. Do you know what I mean?" "I don't know," said the caterpillar. Alice said nothing. She felt that she was losing her temper again. "Are you happy with your size now?" said the caterpillar. "Well, I would like to be a little larger if you wouldn't mind," said Alice. 3 inches is such a terrible height to be." "It is a very good height indeed," said the caterpillar, angrily rearing itself upright as it spoke. It was exactly 3 inches high. "But I'm not used to it," pleaded poor Alice. "You'll get used to it in time," said the caterpillar. It put the pipe back into its mouth and began smoking again. This time Alice waited until the caterpillar chose to speak again. The caterpillar took the pipe out of its mouth, yawned once or twice, and then shook itself. Then it got down off the mushroom and crawled away in the grass, saying as it went, "One side will make you grow taller, and the other side will make you grow shorter." "One side of what? The other side of what?" said Alice. "Of the mushroom," said the caterpillar, and then it crawled out of sight. Alice looked at the mushroom, trying to figure out which 2 sides did what. It was perfectly round, so it was hard to choose. She stretched her arms around it as far as they would go and broke off a bit of the edge with each hand. "And now, which is which?" she said to herself, and nibbled a little of the right-hand bit to see what would happen. The next moment she felt a blow underneath her chin. It had struck her foot. The sudden change frightened her, but she had to hurry. She was shrinking fast. She quickly took a bite of the other bit. Her chin was pressed so hard against her foot there was hardly enough room to open her mouth. She managed to swallow a small bit of the left-hand side of the mushroom. "My head is free at last," Alice said with delight. Her happiness faded when she realized she could not see her shoulders. All she could see was her long neck, which seemed to poke out above some green leaves that lay far below her. "What can all that green stuff be?" said Alice. "And where have my shoulders gone? And, oh, my poor hands, why can't I see you?" She was moving them about, but she saw no results, except a little shaking in the green leaves. She couldn't get her hands to her head, so she tried to get her head to her hands. Her neck bent in any direction like a snake. She started curving it down into the leaves, which she found out were the tops of trees. Alice moved her neck in and out of the trees. It kept getting tangled among the branches, so she had to stop and untwist until, at last, she found her shoulders. She remembered that she still held the pieces of mushroom in her hands and started nibbling at one and then at the other. She grew sometimes taller and sometimes smaller until she finally got back to her regular height. It had been such a long time since she had been the right size that it felt strange at first, but she got used to it in a few minutes. "There's half my plan done now. I'm back to my right size, and now I'm off to find that beautiful garden, but how do I find it?" As she said this, she saw in front of her a little house about 4 feet high. "I can't go to that house being this size. I would scare whoever lives there out of their wits." So she began eating the right-hand bit of the mushroom again and didn't go near the house until she was 9 inches high. Chapter 6. Pig and Pepper. She stood looking at the house when suddenly a footman came running out of the woods. Alice thought he looked like a fish. He knocked on the door with his knuckles. It was opened by another footman in uniform with a round face and large eyes like a frog. The fish footman handed a letter over to the other saying, "For the Duchess, an invitation from the Queen to play croquet." The frog footman answered, "From the Queen, an invitation for the Duchess to play croquet." Then they both bowed low and their curls tangled together. Alice laughed so much at this that she had to run back into the woods for fear of their hearing her. When she peeped out, the fish footman was gone, and the other was sitting on the ground near the door, here staring up into the sky. Alice went up to the door and knocked. "There's no use in knocking," said the footman, "because I'm on the same side of the door as you are, and they are making so much noise inside, no one could possibly hear you." The noises coming from inside were very loud. There was a constant howling and sneezing, and every now and then a great crash, as if a dish or kettle had been broken to pieces. "Please, then," said Alice, "how am I to get in?" "I shall sit here," the footman remarked, paying no attention to Alice, "till tomorrow." The door of the house opened, and a large plate came flying out, straight at the footman's head. It almost hit his nose. It broke into a million pieces against one of the trees behind him. "Or next day, maybe," the footman continued, as if nothing happened. "Oh, there's no use talking to him," said Alice, and she opened the door and went in. The door led right into a large kitchen, which was full of smoke. The Duchess was sitting on a 3-legged stool holding a baby. The cook was leaning over the fire stirring a large pot which seemed to be full of soup. "There's too much pepper in that soup," Alice said to herself as she sneezed. Even the Duchess sneezed occasionally. As for the baby, it was sneezing and howling. The only creatures in the kitchen that did not sneeze were the cook and a large cat which was sitting near the fireplace, grinning from ear to ear. "Please, can you tell me," said Alice, "why your cat grins like that?" "It's a Cheshire cat," said the Duchess, "and that's why." "I didn't know that Cheshire cats always grinned. In fact, I didn't know that cats could grin." "They all can," said the Duchess, "and most of them do." "I don't know of any that do," Alice said very politely. "You don't know much," said the Duchess. Alice did not at all like what the Duchess said, and decided she'd better change the subject. Suddenly the cook took the pot of soup off the fire and at once started throwing everything within her reach at the Duchess and the baby. The Duchess didn't even seem to notice, not even when a plate hit her. The baby was crying so much already that it was impossible to know if it was hurt or not. "Oh, please be careful with what you're doing," Alice cried, jumping up. "If everybody minded their own business," the Duchess said, "the world would go around a great deal faster." "Which would not be very good at all," said Alice, who was showing off a little of her knowledge. "Just think what a mess that would make, having shorter days and nights. You see, the earth takes 24 hours to turn around on its axis." "Oh, don't bother me," said the Duchess. "I never really did like mathematics," and she began rocking her child again, singing a sort of lullaby to it, giving it a bounce at the end of every line. The Duchess sang the second verse of the song and then turned to Alice. "Here, you may hold it a bit if you like," said the Duchess, tossing the baby to her as she spoke. "I must go and get ready to play croquet with the Queen." And she hurried out of the room. The cook threw a frying pan after her as she went out, but it just missed her. Alice caught the baby with some difficulty. Its arms and legs went in all directions. The poor little thing was snorting like a steam engine when she caught it and kept curling and uncurling itself again. Soon she was able to properly hold it and she carried it outside. "If I don't take this child away," thought Alice, "they're sure to hurt it." She said the words out loud and the little thing grunted in reply. "Don't grunt," said Alice, "it's not good manners." The baby grunted again and Alice looked into its face to see what was the matter with it. It had a very turned up nose, much more like a snout rather than a nose, and its eyes were getting extremely small for a baby. Alice did not like the look of the thing at all. "If you're going to turn into a pig," said Alice, "I'll have nothing more to do with you." The poor little thing sobbed again, or grunted, it was impossible to say which, and they sat in silence for a while. Alice was thinking to herself, "What am I to do with this creature when I get it home?" when it grunted again so loudly that she looked down into its face in surprise. This time there could be no mistake about it. It was a pig, and she thought it was silly for her to carry it any more. So she put the little creature down and felt relieved to see it run away into the woods. "If it had grown up," she said to herself, "it would have made an ugly child. But it makes rather a handsome pig, I think." Alice began to think about pigs and such, and hardly noticed that she had wandered back into the woods. She was a little surprised to see the Cheshire Cat sitting on a branch of a tree just a few yards away. The cat grinned when it saw Alice. It looked friendly, but it had long claws and many teeth, so Alice felt it needed to be treated with respect. Cheshire Cat, she began rather carefully. She wasn't sure whether it would like the name. It grinned a little wider. Would you tell me, please, which way to go from here? That depends on where you want to go, said the cat. I don't much care where, said Alice. Then it doesn't matter which way you walk, said the cat. So long as I get somewhere, Alice added. Oh, you're sure enough to do that, if you only walk long enough. Alice knew that was true, so she tried another question. What sort of people live around here? In that direction, said the cat, waving its right paw around, lives a hatter. In that direction, waving the other paw, lives a March hare. Visit either you like, they're both mad. But I don't want to go among mad people, Alice remarked. Oh, you can't help that, said the cat. We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad. How do you know I'm mad, said Alice. You must be, said the cat, or you wouldn't have come here. Alice didn't think that proved anything at all. And how do you know that you're mad? To begin with, said the cat. A dog's not mad. Do you agree? I suppose so, said Alice. Well then, the cat went on, you see, a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now, I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry, therefore I'm mad. I call it purring, not growling, said Alice. Call it what you like, said the cat. Do you play croquet with the Queen today? I would like to very much, but I haven't been invited yet. You'll see me there, said the cat, and then it vanished. Alice was not surprised at this. She was getting used to strange things happening. While she was looking at the place where the cat had been, it suddenly appeared again. By the way, what became of the baby? Said the cat. I'd nearly forgotten to ask. It turned into a pig, Alice quietly said. I thought it would, said the cat, and it vanished again. Alice waited a little, expecting to see it again, but it did not appear. After a minute or two, she began walking in the direction in which the March hare lived. She looked up, and there was the cat again, sitting on the branch of a tree. I wish you wouldn't suddenly keep appearing and vanishing so suddenly. As you wish, said the cat. This time it vanished quite slowly, beginning with the end of its tail and ending with the grin. His grin remained some time after the rest of it had gone. Well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, thought Alice, but a grin without a cat, it's the most curious thing I ever saw in my life. She had not gone far before she found the March hare's house. The house had chimneys shaped like ears and a roof covered with fur. It was a large house, and she didn't want to go any closer until she had grown about 2 feet high. So she nibbled on the left-hand bit of mushroom before she walked towards it. What if the March hare really is mad, she said nervously. I almost wish I'd gone to see the hatter instead.